Hello, guys. Tune into N1P podcast. The show is going on. I'm going to put up the video now. And with that being said, it's going to be about old history, Kushite history. And it's a collaboration I'm doing this time with with one of my friends that created a Somali Corner, which is quite famous right now in that area. And we're doing a clip called "The Empire of the Sun," and it's talking about the actual history of the Kushites and our actual what you call it relations with other parts of the world. When it comes to just history itself, it's quite huge, it's quite enormous. We can't actually understand everything at once, so we need to break it down so that everybody can understand the real deal that we are actually exposing right now. It's the real history about Pan-African history, and it's also history for the world. And it's world history actually. It's just that it's coming from us, and we're going to give it to you, and hope you're going to be inspired, and hopefully you're also going to get a great understanding of the Kushite history and what actually happened within that time period. It was a long time period. We had about 25 different dynasties, and we also had kings all over the world, from east to west. And we're going to expose this. I'm going to give you this. My friend actually had this clip out already on his channel, and he got about 2.4 thousand views on that one. And we are going to expand that field and that type of discussion. As we saw, it was very, very, very successful. A lot of people turned in. A lot of people got a lot of good questions. And next time we're going to give you, we're going to have a Q&A session. Yeah, and stay tuned. Blessed love. Peace.
Today we have a guest, our brother Ahmed Ibrahim, and he's kind of very good at relating Cushitic history. And as you know, with Somali Corner, we're trying to find out the history of the Somali people. And we can't speak about Somali history without mentioning the name Somali, and we can't speak about the origin of the Somalis without speaking about Cushitic. So these are two uh, names that we can't remove from the aspect of Somali history. And some people kept asking me, like, why do you always talk about Cushitic this, Cushitic that? But that's the whole point. That's the whole focus. Like, if, like, basically when you study something, being a student of something, it means being talking about the same thing, all like the same thing over and over again, and having more details, and you will get better at it. And there's always something to talk about. There's always layers in this history. There are hypotheses, there are mythologies, there are a lot of things to talk about. So yeah, so we're gonna dive deep today, and I'm gonna hear from my friend, and I'll tell Ibrahim to introduce himself. And yeah, Ibrahim, tell us about yourself, bro, before we start this.
Yes, my name is Ahmed Ibrahim, as you already know. Partly Somali. I have some heritage in Somali, and my mother is from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, but my heritage is Kushite, and Cushitic history, and Kushite is one of my origin, my heritage. So that's why I want to give the world a little bit of about our history, our ancient history, what we've done so far, and a lot of things have been hidden from us. Global history, especially global history, because this is the Kushite Empire itself was not only in the eastern coast of Africa. We actually expanded our history and our empire throughout the world. and I will go deep into the different parts of the world that we actually colonized at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, they didn't call it colonization. They didn't have that word. That word was not even founded at that time. So it was a different type of colonization. It was not colonization, but it was colonization.
More like, so maybe you could say an invasion, or taking over, or hierarchy. I don't know. There's a lot of words, man. English is a bit.
There's tricky. A lot of words, but it's not nothing that has to do with any type of forceful action or forceful colonization in that way. What it was that we gave our ancient past, our ancient knowledge, the knowledge of the waters of Nun, and a lot of other knowledges that we carried with us to these different ancient places around the world. And what happened was that we, as they call it, the Ras, because Ras at that time was actually mentioned, and it was narrated as being the head. And if you look at Arabic language, Ras means head, and Ras means head in different Semitic languages. So we have Amharic, Tigrinya, you have the Hebrew languages. All of these Semitic languages actually have something in common. That is the Ras, and the Ras means the head. And the head is a chief, a king, an anointed person, a person that was, like they call it, crystallized. And crystallized at that time was also different in a way that today we'll call it Christ. Christ
conscious.
Consciousness, Christ consciousness. But it's also taken, the word Christ was taken from the word Krishna. And Krishna comes, so Krishna is the old word of Christ, which means the enlightened one, the person that has become enlightened in history and knowledge of the past. Because the knowledge of the past is the knowledge of the future. But if you don't know your past, you will never know your future. Hence, the reason why it's very important for us to have this discussion, to actually discuss the things that we have not been discussing for thousands of years. We're bringing this up to the surface and letting people understand that we actually have a great part into the world history.
That's well put. That's well put. Just for people to understand again. How did Christ and Krish and Crystal come into the conversation? So the etymology is that the origin of the word is Ras, head, consciousness. So head. Ras came from Christ. I mean crystal. That's basically the accuracy of that. I would say that's the brothers' hypothesis. So Ras, you got Ras, from Ras you got crystal, from crystal you got Christ and Krishna and all of that. So this is our brother Ibrahim telling us his narration of the story and what he has done research on. So obviously every particular part of history is questionable, so I'll try my best to ask him questions without pressure. People know me for pressing people, you get me, but when it comes to Somalis, I'm kind of like laid back a bit, or when it comes to people who like Cushitic people and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is before we move on, I want everybody to basically come join our Discord server. Okay, this is our Discord server and Somali Corner. I'll leave the link down below. So I'm just gonna let people know that if you want to join this server, you need to remove the expectation that we're always going to be having conversations. No, in this server we only have conversations when it's necessary, right? Most of the times no one says anything, and then you would see one time like we'll be talking for a month, and then after that it will be just quiet. So the reason why that is because we only speak when there is something to speak about, when and that's good, because a lot of people like to speak with it. It's good to speak when you have something to say. If you have nothing to say, even in Islam, Allah Rasulullah tells us, if you have nothing to say, be quiet. So that's the purpose of what we're doing, to raise awareness. And so I'll leave the Discord down below, and if you want to take part in conversations like this, please come through. And this is going to be one of the first episodes. So in today's episode we're going to be talking about the origin. the beginning, the start. And yeah, I'm just gonna let my brother continue with this. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you want books and stuff, I'll also leave the link of Law Express by our brother Muhammad Artan. He owns a bookstore. You know, you can get all sorts of Somali history, anything based with Somali history and Cushitic and Ethiopian and all that kind of stuff, and religious books and stuff, Arabic in any language that you want. And eventually, there's one last thing I wanted to mention, which I forgot, but I'll remember. Without any further ado, let's get into the video. All right, my brother Ibrahim, you can start your history narrative.
All right. So where I want to start first is the beginning. So when people discuss about African history and ancient Kushite history, apart from the African broad history, we're talking about the Kushite history and the eastern part of Africa. We tend to think that our history is less, that our history is not as important as many other histories, but you can actually hear it from the word history. It's not actually our story. So that's why we are not actually the narrators of our story. So we can't actually blame them. We can only blame ourselves from not actually taking the effort to understanding things that has been in the past. That's why it's very important for us to have this discussion so that we can, pinpoint the very important stuff that we have to take with us in the future time, giving this to our future generations, our kids, our grandkids, etc. They're going to look at us, man. They're going to look at us and say, hey, these guys, they gave foundations for thousands of people. So let's do this. I was thinking about the first thing in our history is that when we colonized these areas, I won't say colonization because it's a quite harsh word, and it is also leading to harsh exercises that they did on the population, the ancient population of that time in that area. But when we came, we didn't actually colonize in that way. When we came with knowledge. Yeah. So first of all, when we came, we knew already that the inhabitants or the natives of these lands were somehow knowledgeable about the Christ consciousness or the enlightened ones, the people that actually knew 360 degrees of ancient knowledge. And that was we, which was the people of Meru. So when people say Kushite, they tend to forget that our ancient capital was Meru. Meru. That's my narrative. Maybe you have another narrative, but I will just give you mine. And if people want to go and look it up, they can go and look it up on the internet. Meru. Meru is another word for Merwe. Merwe was the capital of Kush.
Yeah, in Somali, it's Marwa. For those of you who want to know the Somali part, yeah, it's Marwa. Go on.
You see, so it's a very similar word. Yeah. So what people don't know is that the people of Meru was the people of the sun.
Okay.
Was the people of the sun. Yeah, they were the people of the sun. That's why before this discussion, I was mentioning the sun-kissed people, the people who were kissed by the sun. Yeah, that was us. Yeah, so we were kissed by the sun, and this narrative was then taken from to the Greeks, and then the Greeks took that and they put that in their own names and their own words, and they said Aethiop. Before even Ethiopia existed, before the land existed, it was a word for people of our descent. It was a word. And that word was the word that the Greeks used. Because the Greeks, as we know, they conquered much of our land. much of the old Kushite lands as well. So they conquered all of it, all the way from Greece, all the way to today's Indus Kush. That's why it's called Indus Kush. It's not Indus Kush for a reason. It is the Indus Kush.
Yeah.
We used to own that area, which they call today Indus Kush.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was doing some DNA, historical DNA research on different areas, and when I've looked into India, parts of India, I've seen, especially in the Tamil areas and other places, I've seen people who carry the T1 haplogroup, right? And the T1 haplogroup is a Cushitic kind of DNA, also mostly. It's saturated where the Cushitic people live in Somalia, the North African regions, and all of that. So yeah, I think that also could be. And also you have at some point an Oromo king used to rule in them areas in India. You know, I think his name is freaking out. What was his name? I forgot his name, but yeah, I don't want to go on. You can continue.
I know which one you mean. The guy who converted to Islam, I think, and then he went to India. There's a guy, anyways. He went there, he converted, and then he did something there. He lived there. He became a prominent person. He became a king, even a king in India. But that is just one of them.
Yeah.
That is just one of them, and that is new, actually, very new, recent history.
Yeah. This is during
what I'm
Islamic
talking
history,
about is
way before.
Yeah, I'm talking pre. Yeah, I'm talking pre. I'm talking maybe before 10,000 years before Christ. I'm talking 10,000 years before Christ. Yeah, these are the times before they actually built the actual first civilization. So when the Kushites went away from Meru, they went first to colonize the Indus Kush. So when they colonized the Indus Kush, there were already people there. There were already people there. These native people were the people of Anu. The people of Anu. And the people of Anu were in that time called the Pygmy people, or the people that were short in height.
Okay.
Very short.
Just to differentiate, we're not talking about the Pygmies of Africa. We're talking about different types of Pygmies.
We're talking about these first Africans that left Africa as probably 200,000 years ago. It was short-statured people, and these people, they actually were Central Africans. These people were the people, they call them the Anu. They went from Central Africa all the way through the ancient Mesopotamia, all the way to Indus Kush, all the way to China. Yeah?
Okay.
These people settled in these areas. So you have a big tribe of Anus that settled all across these areas.
And where are you getting this information from? How do we know this?
This is quoted from one man has been studying African history for 40 years. His name is Clyde Ahmed Winters. You can look it up yourself. The guy is a very prominent African scholar. He has been studying Kushite history specifically in within the area of Central Asia, all the way to Near East. You have Southeast Asia, all the way to China.
So are we talking Are we talking about the out of Africa migration, or what are we talking about?
Yes, that's the oldest versions of the out of
Africa.
Going out to Africa, yes, version.
Okay. All right, theory.
And then afterwards, yes. So what happened was these pygmy people, or these short-statured people, call them the people of Anu, they built certain temples in Middle East, in ancient Babylonia or Mesopotamia, all the way to Indus Kush and China. So they built a lot of big monuments. But what was the actual meaning of these monuments were attributes to the kings of Kush.
Okay.
they knew already about the ancient Kushites, the sun-kissed people.
Okay.
So when these sun-kissed people came about 20 years or even 50,000 years after the Anus left and they settled all over these areas, the Kushites then came afterwards with boats. Okay? So when they came to Indus Kush and settled for the first time, they had golden robes. So they had gold from top to toe.
Mm-hmm.
That was their garments. They had garments of gold.
Mm-hmm.
And they had they were all dressed in gold.
Okay.
So when they came, these natives have forgotten their history. They've forgotten where they came from. When the Kushites came, they looked and they saw they came from the sun, because they have all gold all the way from top to toe. They were coated in gold.
Mm.
So when the natives saw them, they said, "These guys are the people of the sun. These people of the sun. They came from the sun."
Ah.
With vessels.
So
that's why you have all these narratives.
That's interesting.
Where they say.
Interesting. So you're saying the word people, like when the Greeks say people of the sun or kissed by the sun, a lot of people I think a lot, like, because what you're saying is that a lot of people misinterpret this particular thing, because by origin it means that basically it represents the people of the sun, and this word has been there since the beginning of time, before the Greeks and them guys.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have okay, sorry.
Sorry. Basically, so are you telling me that the Anus and the Kushitics are the same people, or they're separate kind of people?
They're separate.
They're
people. Not the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
They're not the same people. So they spoke a different language. They had a different type of mindset, but their theology was still the same. So the theology was still the same. So it's something that we kept for ourselves, but we were staying in their area for thousands of years, trying to build our civilization. But what we have already done was building that civilization, but then afterwards colonizing. So in order for you to colonize, you have to first build something.
Yeah.
So they built their civilization, and then from there they spread.
Okay, they traveled around. Okay.
So they traveled around. So what they did was they had kings. These kings were the Ras, the guys they called Ra. That's why they say Ra to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same word comes to Ras. Ras is the same thing. It's the sun. It's the head. He's the chief. He's the king. Every empire after our civilization, built their society in hierarchy the same way. They had their king, and then the king was the sun. The king was also the ancient god of that land.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had a statue. He had a position. So when he then left to these other areas to conquer, he then helped the natives to understand their narratives and then gave them that narrative. So what they did is that they married in to the native population. They married in, and when they married in, they created the elite. So in every area that they conquered, they create an elite. One person that rules everything in this area. And this person is the person with the key. He's the one with the knowledge. He's the one with the golden ball. As they said, the picture of Mansa Musa.
Yeah.
Is the golden ball is the symbol of knowledge. It's the sun. The gold ball is the sun. It's a symbol of knowledge. Okay. Every king had this sun. He had this rolled golden ball. All kings had this. It's a symbol of knowledge. 360 degrees of knowledge. And the kings were often, from our heritage, the kings were not only kings, they were priests.
Yeah,
kings.
I agree to that. Yeah.
So they were priest kings. So when they came to these areas, they taught this ancient history. When they taught this ancient history about us, that narrative is still there. That's why you can connect the Bible to the Torah, to the Quran. You can connect the old scriptures, you can connect them. The Egyptian theology, you can connect that to Christ, to the Bible. You can connect that to all of these different other theologies. All of them are connected. Why? Because the first one who did it was the Cushites. They were the ones that first created that narrative, that teaching. So when the kings came and colonized India, first of all, because I say India because that area was the first colony we had. That was the first big colony that we had. The first major colony that we had was in Indus Kush. Okay. In my narrative.
All right. Cool.
You can. No you can.
Okay.
Our narrative, yeah. And the story begins. My story begins in that area, Indus Kush. Why? Because after that, what happened was that this kingship, then traveled from Indus Kush all the way back to Meru. He traveled all the way back to Meru, but he traveled in a way, the Silk Road.
Yeah.
That Silk Road is actually an ancient Kushite road.
And sometimes I'm just gonna ask you for one thing. When you say, this is really interesting. I'm not gonna lie. When you're speaking about this, I would like you to give us some references followed by
I gave you the first.
I know.
I'll give you the first. Yeah.
This one right now. When you say stuff like this, for instance, when we talk about the Silk Road, there are a lot of books that talk about the Silk Road, but then this is a new narrative that people don't know about. Because unlike you told me before, you said you have a lot of new narratives that people don't know about, and you're right. What you just said, I've never heard of that. So so if you say something new narrative, by the way, I'll keep doing this throughout the whole.
It's okay.
Right. So
it's okay.
Always give us a narrative and a book that people can go back to and be like, okay, cool. This is where I got it from, and is so and so. The author and the name of the book. That's all I'm required. Go on.
Yeah. So the author of the book that I am giving you the actual knowledge from is from an old book made by a self-taught teacher or a self-taught person, a historian, and she was a lady. She was a lady born in America. So she was an African American. But she got all her history and knowledge describing our origin and our civilization.
Are you talking about Drusilla?
Drusilla is one. Yes, she's the author of that book that I.
Wonderful Ethiopian.
Yes, exactly. So she's talking about the different routes that we had and the different areas of kingdoms that we had. So Indus Kush was one of them. That's why you have Kush in that name. Indus is because Indus Kush was a colony of Kush.
Okay.
Just like Kashmir comes from Kushite as well. It comes from Kash.
So all of this information, I have that book actually, weirdly enough. I have that book. I've only read it. I've only read like the first few 20 pages, but then for me, it's like one of those people, I'm easily distracted. So I got into other books and I haven't finished it yet.
No, you should finish it.
Since I'm gonna read it because this seems really interesting. So what you're saying right now is from that book. Okay. Is there any other book that you're gonna be using or?
As I said, I gave you two. I have two references. As I said, is Clyde Ahmed Winters. He's one of the reference that I have.
Is he an Afro-American as well?
Yes, but he's a teacher. He's a teacher in history, ancient history.
Clyde.
He's a teacher in Clyde. Yeah, his name is Clyde Winters. Ahmed Winters.
Clyde, is that
CLYDE?
All right.
Clyde Ahmed Winters.
Oh, Winters. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. He's one of them. And he did actually study our history, our ancient history in Africa for 40 years.
Okay.
So he has 40 years of knowledge of African history. So I cannot take it away from him. He has a lot of history that we need to decipher and have with us. Anyways, it's very important for us to have this history because it gives us a foundation.
Okay.
Cool.
So what's the
when
book?
they
What's the book of?
colonized-
Sorry, brother. Again, what's the name of the book of Clyde?
Clyde Winters, you can find all of his reference to all of his books on his YouTube page.
Okay.
He has his own YouTube page.
So okay.
So you can just try to find it on YouTube. You will find a lot of history, ancient history, Kushite history, that actually gives you a more correct narratives when it comes to our colonization of the world.
Okay.
Anyways.
Go on. Sorry.
So why I was talking about the Silk Road. The Silk Road, why? Because that road is an ancient road. It's not a road that only was used by.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum.
Everyone, this is Pharaoh Fresh, one of our brothers. He also owns a YouTube channel. I will leave the link of his YouTube channel on the link down below. Go visit. He does a lot of enlightening videos regarding Somalia. He's mostly talks about Pharaoh and stuff like that. You know, so yeah. So I think he's the guy you should go to when you need that empowerment. You know, so yeah.
Perfect.
Go on.
So let me just go on there. I would also want to say about when you're talking about pharaohs. I was thinking about telling you that these guys were the first elites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when people talk about elites, they're like, oh, they're so scared about elites. Oh, Illuminati. Illuminati.
Yeah.
You know
the
they
word.
Don't understand,
brother. You know the word Illuminati itself. It's not bad. Illuminati means to be eliminated, to be enlightened.
Exactly.
You know,
enlightened. Yes.
Exactly. It's not bad.
Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
Do you understand? People just so easily like sheep, bro. They can just be, controlled by the shepherd very easily, man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we need to actually take the narrative for ourselves, and we need to address the actual facts. Yeah. So the pharaohs were the first elite group, the guys that had 360 degrees of knowledge. These guys were the ones that first created the first actual Freemasonry was first created in Egypt.
Okay.
By these elite. Okay. This elite was actually the elite that conquered the world before it was conquered by the other man, the man that came 6,000 years ago.
Yeah, another thing to add to this, the word Freemason also, it's not in the, with these conspiracies, they messed up with this word. Freemason means stone makers. That's what it means. Stone carvers.
Exactly.
And who carved stones better than Cushitic people? Nobody. So,
no one.
Exactly. Let's do this.
So I was just gonna keep on.
I know you keep getting interrupted. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry about that. So continue, bro.
Yeah, it's
Silk Road. We were on Silk
Road. So Silk Road. Yeah. So it's an ancient road. So it has two paths. Mm-hmm. One is the sea, and the other one is on the ground. Yeah, on the actual ground where people walk. Yeah. Okay. So what they did was that they took over that whole area of Indus Kush, all the way up to the Himalaya and the Kashmir. And that's why you have Kash. And that's why in the beginning you said Kash. Kash means north.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
North.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where's Kashmir?
Northern
India.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
See,
now you're getting interested. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So, all right. You have Kashmir. Yes, I hear you.
Yes, Ahmed, you can hear.
Can I add to something that you guys were saying?
Yeah, go on, bro.
Should I? Okay.
Wait, one sec. Ahmed, can you hear me?
You're saying stone.
Ahmed. Sorry, Pharaoh.
I can hear you, yeah.
Bro, what we're doing is that basically this project is specifically for Ibrahim. So he prepared a particular topic So after he finishes with this topic, and then we're gonna enter. Make sure you keep all your questions in your mind. So by the end of the session, we will take the questions, inshallah. All right?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Should I come off the video?
No, it's fine. You can stay on the video. You can
be here, man. Just enjoy, man. Enjoy.
yeah. Go
Enjoy,
on.
brother.
Yeah, go on, Ahmed.
Yeah.
By the way,
So,
I think you're both Ahmeds. I think Ahmed and Ahmed. So go on.
Ahmed.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the most famous name, man. It's the most famous name. Anyways.
All right.
Let me just
Kashmir.
keep on. Yeah. So Kashmir was also a colony. So that city there was also one of those colony cities that we had. So it was also one of those roads that we used to get back to our ancient area.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that road that go all the way back to Egypt. Okay. So it goes through India, from India all the way through Persia, all the way through Iraq, which is ancient Babylonia, Chaldea, yeah, and then all the way back to Egypt. And when they came back to Egypt, that's when they built the pyramids. It was built when they came back. The kings came back.
So basically, they established something, a rule, a kingdom. They went around to spread their knowledge, and after that, they came back. Once they established that they can influence the world. Now they came back to establish pyramids and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what happened. So what happened was that's why even America was a Kushite colony.
Exactly.
That's why.
Yeah, the pyramids there.
Yeah, it was a Kushite colony, man. We colonized Northern America and Southern America as well. Even Australia was colonized by Kushites.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to America, we have the Al-Maru.
Mm-hmm.
Al-Maru is the first name of the land. It's called Al-Maru.
Okay.
Al-Maru.
Okay.
You see the name. You see the name. Al-Maru comes back to Meru. Again, it comes back to Meru. Exactly. So when we came back to Egypt, what happened was we then built our first state, and it was the first state that was built. That's why when they say Iraq, they say, oh, the Chaldea had an empire or a civilization before us. No. What happened was that we established the state. The first state was established in Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, and Egypt is just a name, and Greek name. It's not actually the name of the land. It's just a Greek word. Yeah. So that word itself also confuses people.
It comes from the temple of the Coptic people. You know, the Coptic religion. So
exactly.
Yeah. So Egypt. So Egypt just it's a Latinized version of Copt or Kept or Coptic. So go on.
You can say that. Yeah, it's just a name that they took and translated for themselves. It's not actually a name that Egypt is wrong. We should not even call it Egypt.
Exactly.
But that's what it is. Anyways, conquerors are the ones that holds our history today. So that's why we need to take back our history.
Exactly.
We need to take back their history and give it to the right audience, to the right people. And that's us. So we need to give it back. We need to give it back to our people. So anyways, so when they established the first actual state in Egypt, what happened was they still had connection with all these other colonies that they colonized. Okay, so these were colonies. So where Chaldea is a colony, Persia was a colony, ancient Indus Kush was a colony of Kush, Kush, the main Kush. So you had the king called, it's in the scriptures. This is another reference I'll give you now. And this is in the scriptures, one of the oldest scriptures in India. It's derives from the language Sanskrit. Maybe you have already know about Sanskrit.
Yeah, the Sanskrit. Yeah.
It's one of the oldest writings. On earth. In Sanskrit, in this ancient book of the Hindus, they call it. They have scriptures inside this book. It's called the Puranas.
The Puranas.
Maybe you have heard. Have you heard about the Puranas?
Yeah, I read into the Hindu religion. Yeah, I know about some stuff. Yeah. The Puranas, I've heard of it. Yeah.
In the Puranas, they speak about us. It's us they're speaking about, man. It's our history.
Go on, how?
That history.
Explain to me.
Yeah, I will tell you directly. So in the Puranas, they are talking about the Kushites. They are talking about us. They're talking about Kushadwipa. Kushadwipa. Kushadwipa.
Kushadwipa.
It's Kush. It's a Kush. But it's a king of Kush.
So how?
It's the king of Kush.
How did you come to that conclusion that Kushadwipa is the king of Kush?
Because he ruled the three worlds at that time. He was the ruler of the three worlds.
Okay. And which are these three worlds?
Yeah, the three worlds are the three ancient seas that we controlled.
Ah, okay.
So
elaborate.
when they say,
let the people know. Elaborate.
I will tell you. So when they say worlds at that time, it was the seas. Because when you traveled on the seas, like you traveled in space. Bro, you traveled in space. We were traveling in space. So when we came to these ancient lands, we had golden garments. I told you.
Yeah.
And when the natives saw us, they saw us as the sun beings, the beings that came from the sun. We colonized these areas. Kushadwipa means king of Kush. He's the king of Kush. And he was black.
Dwipa means king? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in Sanskrit.
Okay.
Yeah. So he owned the three worlds. So he had the Pacific Ocean, all of it. Pacific Ocean. He had the Atlantic Ocean. And he had the Indian Ocean.
Makes sense.
These three oceans made up
the Americas, the Red Sea, which is Africa, and the Indian Ocean. Got it. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And this is before even the Red Sea became a wide sea, because tectonically it took time. You know, it takes time for a sea to actually exist. So the tectonics, it takes thousands and thousands of years. But I don't know if that was even it was not a sea at that time. I'm sure it wasn't a sea at that time. So we're talking about Indian Ocean, we're talking about Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. So these three oceans were the main oceans for trade and other commodities, other types of history, actually. So that's us. So when we traveled through these three worlds, we came to the natives. The natives were the people of Anu. We intermixed with the people of Anu, created our first elites around the world. That's why we had elites. These all elites came back to Egypt and founded the first state in Egypt. So Egypt was the first state. And then from there, it was like a powerhouse. Egypt was like a powerhouse.
So let me ask you a question.
It was also...
sorry to interrupt you. So you said these people left, established different, let me use a better word.
Kingdoms.
Different influences. That's a better word. Different influences. And then, so these people, the same people who went to do different, to influence the world, came back and built pyramids. But the question is, what about because these people are representatives. They're not the actual kings. They are just representatives. So what about the actual kings who actually inhabited Kush at that time? What were they doing, you know?
I'll tell you, I will tell you, Okay. The thing is, I was trying to tell you is that these people that went to these places and colonized, they were kings. And they were wearing golden garments.
Okay.
What they did was they interbred with the natives. When they interbred with the natives, they spread their seed. And their seed became the king of that area. The purple bloods. These are the guys that took over. So when they then came to these areas, they interbreed, they made one elite, one king. In every area they took over, they put one king.
Okay.
That king is his son. His son is the son of the sun. He was the son. The king was the son. You understand?
Yeah.
So So that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. It comes from kingship, kings. So we took over these areas. We made our elites in every area. These elites then came back to Egypt. When they came back to Egypt, that's when they founded the first state. And they did that together. So the first headquarter, like the base of their colony, just like America was the base of white colonization, this here, Egypt, was the base of our colonization.
Okay.
Yeah, and we used to own the old world order, not the
So-
new world order.
So just to
We
get
had the old world order.
Okay.
The old world.
Yeah, I like that term. Just to get things a bit clearer to the audience as well. So the people who came back, are these the same people who left before, or these are the people who were born into the other world?
These are the people that was born in this other world and came back.
So so the children or the descendants of
Yeah.
those who went there came back to establish a kingdom in
Yes.
Kush. All right.
Exactly.
I kind of disagree
As a
with that, but I'm just gonna let you,
You can.
carry on. Yeah.
It's okay. No worries. It's okay. That's why we have a discussion about this. You can go and
Because-
look it up for yourself.
Yeah, just to let you know, like these
Yeah.
two, I know Drusilla, right? She's a
Yeah.
Afrocentrist, and also she's about the she talks about Cushitic people as if it was a what's the word? As if everybody was Kush. Do you understand? And this is why I stopped reading the book at some point. But at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is that when it comes to there's another guy by the name of I think it's Ampim Amun, something like that. He's also on YouTube. He writes books and he travels. He has the same narrative, you know. And you know, when they talk about Kush, these people are not actually Kushitic. And when they speak about Kush people, they come from a narrative of trying to find identity, you know. And the fact that they're saying that the pyramids, and also this also disagrees with the fact that the pyramid was not built by people who came from outside, rather it was built by people who were within. These people who built the kingdom, basically. I understand one thing. If you tell me one thing, I understand if you tell me these people, and it makes a proper sense. If these people left, they established other, you know, influential kingdoms. They left their descendants there, and they left their descendants to rule there. But these descendants, they were intact with where they came from. But it wasn't them who built the pyramids, and it wasn't them who came back to establish more power. They were just part of the construction.
The colonies. So what I was saying is that I didn't say that they were the ones when they came back. Those are the ones that built the empire only. No, it was the people that were there, of course.
Yeah,
it
but
was
when
the
you
original
say
people that were there.
when you say pyramid, when you say they built a pyramid, the pyramids kind of they simplify, or they exemplify power, right? They exemplify kingship, and they also basically only. By the way, pyramids are graves, right? If people don't know this, pyramids. The purpose
Tombs.
of the pyramids,
They say they're tombs.
tombs and
they
graves.
said it was tombs.
It's the same thing. So, and these types of tombs are only made for native kings, not people who came from outside. Like for instance, like, you know, when the Greeks came, what
of
pyramids
course.
are they made for?
That's why. Yes, that's why they had in every colony they had temples.
Yeah.
They had temples. They had pyramids in every. Why? Why did they have the?
Because
Why did they have, exactly? It was the tombs for those people that were there.
Exactly.
The people that So they had their own, of course. They
Because
had their own
it makes
pyramids.
sense. It makes sense. You know the tombs. Sorry to interrupt you again. It makes sense. The tombs in Americas, right? The pyramids in Americas are they're also used for the same reason. You know, so. And this comes from the Egyptian, not just Egyptian, but also from the Waqi or the Cushitic belief system, whereby, you know, the tomb represents the mound, the land, the first hill, the first place of, you know, humanity. But yeah, go on, bro. I'm just trying to make things clear for the audience, because there's a lot of stuff out there. You know?
Bro, it's okay. It's okay. I understand. It's a lot of things that can confuse people, but this will not confuse them because it's quite clear. I've actually sat down and tried to understand why these things are happening, and now I'm actually in that space of time to give you that conclusion that I have. So anyway, so when it comes to these areas where they colonized. When they colonized these areas, like I said, they put their king there, their son, they ruled, they built the temples. Yeah.
Let me know when I should ask questions. I'm just writing them down.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Keep writing it down, bro. There's a lot of things.
Write everything down. Right, just keep on writing down because I'm not finished yet. I will finish it out very quick or very soon. Anyways.
No, don't be quick. We
So I'll
need
make
more
it very.
information. Go on.
Okay, I'll take my time then.
Yeah,
I'll just say to you that, so this ancient history that we've had, in Indus Kush, in Americas, in the China, in these different areas, had the same type of theology. Yeah. So when you look at the pharaohs, the pharaohs had what you call it? They had what was it? 2 animals on their head. Yeah?
2 cobras.
A cobra.
Yeah.
And a bird also.
Yeah, the bird. Yeah, the bird represented.
Yeah, and which one was it?
The other thing was the sphinx or something. I don't know.
No, it was not that. It was
the hur.
The one with the long neck, you know, and the head. He has a bald head. They call it the bald head? What you call this bird, man?
Well, is that the bird that represents Tahut? What's it called? Thoth? Or you're talking about the vulture?
Not the vulture. Yes, the vulture.
Okay, cool.
Yes, and it represents death and stuff like that. But it's not bad in their aspect. It was not bad. It was just a new way. It's a new world. Just like Akhirah. It's a new way. It's a new life after this life. It doesn't stop. Now it continues. So that's what I want to just give you an image on that.
Okay.
Why they had a snake on their head is because the snake was more significant at that time. You know, a lot of people talking about the occult and it being a bad thing. It's bad, it's evil and stuff like that. In many aspects, it's not evil. In many aspects, it's not evil at all. If you read it, it's like the Gnostics, for example. The Gnostics, they're talking about the snake being the highest of order. And they call it, even the Hindu scriptures talks about the Kundalini rising. And the Kundalini is a snake.
Yeah, but
And
normally
the
snake represents chaos and motion. That's one thing I know.
Yeah, in different other mythologies, yes, it does.
Okay.
But it also represents some way, somehow, kingship as well. That's why the pharaohs had it on the head.
Yeah,
because it represents some form of kingship. It does.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
And
there's a story to it, but go on, keep going. I don't want to interrupt you. Go on.
Yeah, they're talking about reptilian and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the kingly stuff, man. It's the kingly stuff. Right. You see the Afars? They cut the teeth. They look like crocodile. Have you seen? They cut the teeth. No, but the teeth like crocodile. If you look, it's true. They drink so much of that fluoride water in Afar region that their teeth become soft. Soft. So what they do, they have ancient tradition. They cut the teeth so it becomes sharp, like crocodile. Yeah. And reptilians. You see?
So within the what's it called? Egyptian deities, you got Khabri. I think his name is Khabri, who's a crocodile with a crocodile head. So
crocodile, see?
Yeah.
So you have the crocodile and you have the snake, yeah? So you have the snake and they call them before they call them the Negas. These are the snakes, yeah? And when they came to these other areas, India, Indus Kush, etc., they call them the Nagas. That's why they have that word in Amharic. They call it Nagus.
And also,
it means king.
It's really interesting.
Serpent, king.
It's really interesting you say this. Look, I think there's truth to what you're saying, because in India as well, they highly revere the cobra. There's something about the cobra that they revere, you know. So
King Cobra is the king cobra. Even they have the king cobra. Where do they have the king cobra? The biggest cobra on earth is in India. That's the biggest cobra you have. You've never seen any cobras bigger than that.
Go on.
And it's a sign of king. It's a sign of kingship. It's just a sign of it. It doesn't matter what you believe in, if you believe it's evil or not. It's a sign of kingship, and this is what we had before. So if you look at the ancient temples of Teotihuacan in Mexico, which means the flying serpent. It means flying serpent. It means flying serpent. You look, if you go to China, what do they celebrate when they celebrate the dragon? They celebrate the flying serpent. The dragon is the flying serpent. Yeah,
right.
you have it. You have it in Indus Kush, the flying serpent there as well in their temples.
Coming back to the topic now, we were talking about. You were talking about the pyramids being built. That's where we were.
Yeah. Okay. So the pyramids, they were built in Egypt and all around the world. Okay. And if you look at the sequence of the pyramids, you will see that they all connect.
Okay.
They all connect in one way or another. They connect. If you look at it geologically, they connect in some way, somehow. They do connect.
All right.
So these ancient pyramids were built often by the natives. They were built by natives, but instructed by the king of Kush, the king that came. They came and gave them this knowledge of building the pyramids the way they were building the temples. Yeah. And they put themselves as the highest of highest order. That's why the Krishna, or in Hindu, Krishna is a black man.
Yeah, and they turned him blue eventually because he was so dark. He was blue. Basically.
You see.
Yeah.
So why is because he had that tone because of the sun. At the end of the day, he became tone. He's giving some type of other tone, just like the Phoenicians. They call them the purple black people. That's what they were called before, the purple black, because their tone, their skin tone, was like a tone of purple, but they were black.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because like the descendants of the Phoenicians are the ancestors of the Phoenicians are the Canaanites, and the Canaanites are directly related to the Kushites.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
So all of these things are connected with each other. People think that they are not connected, but they are connected. All of these kingdoms, civilizations were built by the Kushites, but also in help of the natives. So if you look at Indonesia, you look at different other areas, you will have these small people. If you go to the pyramids today, if you go to Egypt, if you look at if you look inside the pyramids, if you look at inside the pyramids, you will see inside the pyramids, you will see inside the pyramids as ancient doors. Small doors, but it was only for small people, man. Because if you go in, you cannot go in. A normal human being, they're gonna crawl if they're going in that way. They're gonna crawl, like not even crawling, but swimming in.
I've heard a theory that the reason why it was like that is because since you're entering the tomb of a king, you have to bow down. So that's why the doors were made small, so that when you're going through in the process, you're bowing down. I don't know. It's just a theory. I'm not saying it's a fact. Don't quote me on this.
No. It was from what I've seen from all of it. It all has a red line, and it was the people of Anu. That's why when you go to Iraq, you have an old language or an old culture called the Sumerian culture.
Okay.
And who's the one on the top? It's called Anunnaki. Anu comes from Anu. The Anunnaki comes from the word Anu.
Okay.
And these were the people that came to Mesopotamia before the Kushites came to Mesopotamia. You understand? These people, they settled. They became the natives of that land. So when the Kushites came, they then gave them this knowledge to build these pyramids again, because they lost all of this information.
So
we came
you know
and
the
gave them this
Anu again. So you're saying the Anu were short people?
They were short-statured, yeah.
But they were not like, they were like maybe as short like Chinese, or short like pygmies.
But if you look at it, they all come from a pygmy race. That's why they're short.
You're right. Yeah.
This is just the truth, man.
Yeah,
And
because
people,
sometimes when people wordings is very interesting, right? Because sometimes when people say pygmy, they imagine a particular short people in Africa, but then what they don't realize, like the word pygmy is specifically made for any type of short person, So,
a race that lived. They come from the same. They have the same type of DNA. At the end of the time, they have the same DNA. So these people, they traveled throughout the world, and they settled in these areas before we came there and taught them this ancient history that they forgot.
Got it.
You understand? So we came back, we gave them this, we intermarried into their native population, hence the reason why they became a little bit taller.
Okay.
You understand? Because we gave them some of our DNA, bro. That's just the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's just the image when it comes to just that. Yeah. So when it comes to
the pyramids,
our ancient, our pyramids and the ancient pyramids, they're talking about the flying serpents. All pyramids have some type of connection with a serpent. All of them, all temples, even the Buddhist temples, even the Buddha teaching is a Kushite teaching, but people don't even understand that. Is a Kushite teaching as well.
Elaborate on that. How is that?
Just like the Hindu is a Kushite teaching.
One thing I understand is that the Waqi, the Waqi belief, right, which is the original Kushitic religion. The Waqi belief is the essence and the base of all religions, right? Now, and that's I'm working on that, by the way. That's a project that I'm working on. But coming back to what you said, how under what narratives, what are the similarities? Give me some similarities between the Kushitic beliefs and what Buddha believed.
The Buddha himself, why? Because I told you, the sun god, so the sun people, the people that come from the sun, he looked upon himself as the sun being. Why I'm saying different teachings, Hindu, Buddha, all of these ancient teachings, they all connect.
Yeah, I understand.
Why I'm saying they all connect is because all the teachings are made by different nagas, different kings.
Okay.
Different kings. So all of these different kings had a different way of telling their story. So they had a different way of telling their story. Hence the reason why you have different religions, but they all the same.
Got it.
They all connect to each other. So when you see the Buddha, he's a Nagas. They call him the Nagas. He's a guy that sits down and meditates, and he has all of these serpents from all of them, all around him.
Ah, okay. Is that copra? That's copra again, right?
Exactly. If you look at your hair, bro, if you just look at your hair, you have the curls, bro. You have the curls. Not only that, but at the end of every curl, if you look at a Somali hair, you see it's like a rounded knot. It's like a rounded thing. It looks like it looks different, bro, and it looks like actual snakes. When you turn your hair longer, you turn your hair longer, it looks like snakes.
Got it.
That's where you have the Medusa, Annie. That's where they comes from. You understand?
Okay, now. So I've picked on something you said about the Buddha. You said his name was Nagas, or what did you say about?
Yes. It's not his name. It is it was a name given to the kings that came. So the Nagas. So the Nagas is actually the name, not Negas or Negus. It was Nagas. So the Nagas.
So the people of the Buddha used this term to call their kings.
The people of the Buddhas, they said the Nagas was the enlightened one, the enlightened being. He is the Buddha. You, me, every one of us, we are the Buddhas.
You know what?
But we are.
This is interesting.
But people don't understand. People don't understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. This is really interesting. Really.
Yeah.
yeah. Go on.
Not only that.
Yeah.
We then came back. That's why if you look at different ancient houses, for example, in Ethiopia, in northern Ethiopia, you will have this house. They say is a temple, a Christian temple. It's not Christian. It has nothing to do with Christianity.
Mm.
This temple, you know which one I mean? The
No.
cross that is embedded in rock. You have seen it.
No, I haven't.
The temples of Lalibela. The temples of Lalibela.
I've heard
If you
of
look
it.
at the
I haven't seen it.
temples,
Yeah.
yeah, the temples of Lalibela, they say the king of Lalibela, the king, he made it by the help of the angels.
Mm.
One night. He said, I created this city, the new Jerusalem. He said, the new Jerusalem. I built the new Jerusalem with the help of the angels in one night.
Got it.
In one night.
Mm-hmm.
How can you carve into rock one night, my friend? You cannot do that.
Okay.
It's a hocus pocus.
Yeah, they
so
made up.
if you want to go, it's made up. It's made up.
Yeah.
Why I say that is because in the temple, if you look at the temple, if you look at the windows, you will have a swastika on the temple. You have swastikas on the temple. Swastika is a symbol of the sun.
Is it?
Yes, the swastika is a
I didn't
symbol
know
of
that.
the sun. But what they did was that that's the name, the ancient name of it's a swastika. Swastika itself, yes, is taken. Hitler himself took it because he believed in occult. So he took that image,
Yeah.
which you call is a swastika, and he turned it. He turned it around, just like everything they took from us. They
I know.
turned it around
Exactly.
and changed the narrative to fit their narrative. That's what they did with our own image, our own symbols.
I applaud you for
our
that.
symbol. Yeah, and they took the swastika and they used it towards against us. So if you look at the temple itself, you will have swastikas all around that temple, and swastika is older than Christianity. So that's the proof of that temple being older than Christianity itself. And the cross means something else. People have forgot the meaning of the cross. The meaning of the cross is the 4 seasons. The 4 seasons. It's the 4 seasons.
And also it could be a compass. I don't know. I'm just assuming stuff right now.
You can use that as well as a compass, man. Bro, if you look at for instance these guys that travel the road, what do you think they traveled with? What type of navigation did they use? They used the stars. They used the Orion's belt, the Osiris belt. They used the Osiris belt to travel around the world because they knew if you look at the Orion's belt with the 3 stars pointing east, pointing east, where the sun rises.
Wow.
So they knew where east is, west was, north is. Just by looking at those 3 stars, you will know exactly where you are. You will know exactly where you are. That's why they knew how to travel.
It's funny you say that because, in Somalia, right, also another Cushitic people, these people were, okay, before I say that, there's a guy who said that he's an Afrocentrist and he looks into the Cushitic history, but he made one crazy mistake, and he said the Cushitics were sedentary people and agriculturists. They were not nomads, And this, when I heard this, I'm like, bro, get out the window, bro. Like, how are you talking about, how are you talking about Cushitic history and you're erasing the what's it called, the base, what makes a Cushitic. Now, coming back to the stars again, what we have is in Somali, not only Somalis, Oromos and many other Cushitics do this, is that when they traveled, especially with camels and stuff, right, nomadism, they used the stars to locate where to go, and they use the stars and and stuff like that to navigate themselves. These people are not scientists. They're not, they're just people. They are natural scientists, right? Even today, when you look at the science that we use today, right, you have the ozone, and they tell us about the ozone, the sun radiation. But when you look into the Egyptian philosophy, all of this is explained at one go, but in the form of humans and stuff like that. It's all explained with details. When you look into the Waqi, when you look at yin and yang, right?
Yes.
In Cushitic, especially in Somali, is nim and nag, right? So we have all of this stuff, But go on, bro. You know what? I swear
Yeah.
to God, at first when you said I know about history, I'm gonna tell you. I thought there are a lot of people who just they read Afro stuff and they come up to you, but you know your stuff, and I really love the fact that I have you here today. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
So continue, bro.
No problem,
Navigation and
brother.
the stars.
No
Go
problem. I just want to give you what I have had for myself for the past, I don't know how many years, man. I've been sitting down trying to understand where we're from. I even struggled having my own heritage, like the Somali heritage. I struggle with it as well because I didn't even know a lot about my own heritage. You understand? Because at that time, the Civil War came out and our people just left the land. And it was just, we just left it, bro. It wasn't the same anymore, you understand? Forget that. I just want to tell you that I've had it with me for the longest, man. And it would stay with me, you understand? It was said to me, you have to put it out. You have to give your people this. You have to give your people this. And unfortunately, it came. And now I'm talking to you guys, I'm giving this to...
You mean fortunately it came? You said unfortunately. So you mean fortunately?
No, fortunately, I mean, it came, yeah. Fortunately, it just came, bro.
Yeah.
So also, I have to tell you, English is not my first language. So if I say certain things,
I like this kind of accent because like from back home and this type of accent, it kind of it comes from originality. You're speaking from a point of originality. Now coming back to. You talked about people stealing our history, and by the way, Pharaoh, I'm going to give you your time to speak. I think we're about to conclude, but just to finish, you talked about people stealing other people's history. At first, it was the white people who came. No, at first it was the Muslims, right? When I say Muslims, I'm talking about the Arabs. Sorry, I'm a Muslim, alhamdulillah, but it was the Arabs who came.
Yeah.
And they twisted everything, and then it was the white man who came and twisted everything, and now there's another thing that's happening. We've got the Afro-Americans or Afrocentrists who are coming and twisting stuff to fit their own narrative and to give themselves an identity. So this is something that we need to be very, very aware of, and we need to speak about history from our perspective. So move on, brother. Sorry to interrupt you. I keep interrupting you.
We can discuss that a lot more further because there's still some stuff there that we need to also get rid of. But that's for another day. I don't think this is for this topic. It's another day. I will get into that more with you one-on-one, or maybe a discussion like this. I'll gladly give you my perspective of this. But I will tell you the reason why the European or these people took our history and used it against us was because they knew our history. They knew who we were. They knew the power behind it. So, my friend, they didn't want to. They don't want us to see this. They don't want us to understand this. They don't want us to understand that, for instance, many of these ancient Indian gods or these deities in India were Kushites. Like the bow and arrow. This is an invention from Kush. The bow and arrow, man.
Yeah. They were known as the kingdom of bow and arrow. They were known for it.
We were the arrows. We are the ones that used to use that one, man, in warfare and stuff like that. Yeah, but we have lost so much of it. We don't have it left. You understand? We only have words like wakoy, galbid, or we have we have these words. Yeah, and we have these places like Lasgil. Which is an ancient place, man. We have all of these different places, but there's no history. Like it is there, but nobody knows anything about that. That's the problem. That's the main problem we have. So not only that, we have things there, but people can't actually decipher it because they don't know what it is. So they think, it's Muslim or it's Christian. But they don't understand the guys who wrote the book. Yeah, the guys who wrote the book were Kushites.
Sorry, what book?
So we have All the books, all the ancient religions, they were all written by Kushites.
Yeah.
The Hindu scripture in Sanskrit, that was written by Kushites. The Hindu scriptures. The Hindu scriptures were all built or created by Kushites.
Oh, it was the world religions you were talking about.
All religions, man. If you look at even the Aztec, the Olmecs, the Soltecs, the Yamasid, all of these big tribes in Amaru. Amaru is Maru. Don't forget, America was one of our colonies, man. It's a Kushite colony. Yeah. And not only that, the reason why you have Moroccan kings or the Moroccan king having allegiance with the Americans is because the American house, which is the White House. What is the name of the White House? Casablanca. Casablanca is the White House. Casablanca means White House. If you go to Morocco today, you have a city called Casablanca.
Wait, I've never heard people use Casablanca for the White House.
The word is casa in Spanish, means house.
Okay.
Blanca means white.
Oh.
White House.
Okay.
Yes.
And the Spanish got it from the Moroccans. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Moors, the ancient Moors.
Oh, the Moors.
The Moors,
Got
the guys.
it.
Yeah, the Moors, the Moor Meru. The guys were Meruel. They were Kushites. But people don't actually. We are taking away our own identity.
Yeah, but they were related to the Kushites, I would say, because the Moors, most of them were Berbers, and the Berbers and the Kushites come from the same origin, anyways. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. If you look at listen, if you look at the region, it's a region in Somaliland. It's called Sahel. Sahel is Sahel.
Sahel, yeah.
Sahel, yes, it's the same as Sahel in Sahara.
Ah.
What is the capital of Sahel? What is the capital of Sahel?
I don't know. I forgot.
Berbera.
Oh, Berbera. Okay.
The capital is Berbera. The region is Sahel.
Okay.
Bro, it tells you where the Berbers comes from, bro.
Of course, yeah. Actually, this is true. The Berbers do come from Berbera. But this is true. It's history.
Yeah.
That's because Berbera means the land of the. It means the Arabs used to call it Beled el Berber, meaning the city of the Berbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And before that, it was called another name. It was called Malua. Malua was the city of the name of the city, Malua. Yeah.
Okay.
And we
Malua.
used to be the Malua, yes. Yeah. It's the city name Berbera. Before Berbera. Before the Berbers went.
Actually, the word Berbera is as ancient as it goes back to ancient Egypt, because you know the people of Nubia, where they call Nubia in the land of Kushites, right? This land was known as Berber, right? So now a lot of people mix up. Let me try to give a bit of explanation. You have Nubia, you have Berber, and you have Kush. Yeah. Now these are all denoting to the same area. Now Berber are the people. Kush is the location or the direction, which means south, and Nubia means gold, because that was the land of gold. Do you understand? Yes. So this is the thing. Yeah. There is no people think that there are people called Nubians. There is no people called Nubians.
No, that's because some people have taken it and translated it and used it for their own narrative. That's the reason.
And the reason why they do this.
That's why history is so powerful. That's why history is so powerful, because you can change narratives, and then you can take it and use it for your own. But you cannot take away the words. You cannot take away the cities. You cannot take away the history of that city or that region or the regions that we took over, which is Indus Kush, which is Kush. You have Kashmir, which is Kashmir. You have and
you have
Iraq.
Kasi. You know Kasi?
Kasi, yes. You have in Iraq. You have a city called Kish.
Kish, yeah.
In Iraq, in Shaldia.
Is that north or south? Because in the
it's in the east. It's the eastern Babylonia.
Okay.
So it's in eastern Babylonia. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So you have the eastern Babylonia. You have the Chaldea, which is where the Basra area, and where Abraham Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came from.
Mm.
So he came from that area. He's from Chaldea. He was Cushite in the region. All of them are Cushites, but they say they're Semite. Semite is just Semite.
It's a language.
Is the son of Cush.
Yeah. I'm gonna make something clear. A lot of people think Shemite and Semite are the same thing, but Shemite is basically these are according to biblical narrative. This is one of the sons of Noah. But the word Semitic is just language, because if we were to use Semitic as a race, right, it won't make sense, because there were people who were of Ham or of Ham or of the Cushite people who spoke this language indigenously. The Semitic part, like a strand. Even in Ethiopia, you got Ethio-Semitic, which they spoke in this language. They spoke in this strand of Semitic for thousands and thousands of years. So Semitic is not a race, and there is no such thing as anti-Semitism, because even Africans are Semitic.
Bro, I've been waiting on this one, because I've been telling people about this, because there's no such thing as an anti-Semitist. How can you be? How can you be that, man? When you are that yourself, it's like it doesn't even make sense. You know, it doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. So just try to wrap this up. We go over the next episode.
Ahmed has some questions. So Ahmed, go for your first questions. We try to make it quick as possible. If you can't answer them, the other Ahmed, the guest. So I'm gonna call you Pharaoh. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call Ahmed Pharaoh and the other Ahmed. Okay. Or I'm gonna call you Ibrahim. Okay, I'm gonna call you Ibrahim. Just so I don't get mixed up. So Ibrahim, if you can't answer some of the questions, write them down, and you can come back for it more. Maybe next week, inshallah, and you can continue with those questions. And those you can answer, try to wrap them up as quickly as possible. It seems like, mashallah, our brother Ibrahim is a family man, so there's a lot of responsibilities on his shoulders. Mashallah.
Have to run.
Go on.
All right, I'll continue from here. Okay. Brother Ahmed, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for your contribution and sharing the wisdom and knowledge you've gained. Wallahi, I appreciate it. I loved it.
Shukran.
Very empowering. Very it made me very curious to ask you all these questions. So let me just get into it. You mentioned there were Cushites in the Mesopotamia area in the back in the days.
Mesopotamia.
Anunnaki were small people. However, in my research, what I noticed is that the Anunnaki were actually extra tall people, maybe even considered giants. But then they also had a subservient people to them called the Ijiji. I don't know if you've heard of the Ijiji before. So maybe they're related to the Pygmy instead of the actual Anunnaki. How do you feel about this?
I mean, we can debate the name and stuff like that, but if you look at the name, a name tells you more than anything. Anu is the people of Anu. Anunnaki is the people of Anu. So if you have the word already there, it tells you who these people are. So Anu comes from the people of Anu, and the Anus were the pygmy, short-statured peoples. The reason why you have a lot of pictures of giants is because, from my own perspective, is that if you want to, dominate an area at that time, you had to picture yourself being bigger and stronger than anyone else.
Yeah, in the Egyptian hieroglyphics, the gods are bigger than the people when they portray them.
You see. So that's why they said that's why they have pictures of people being, or the Anunnakis being the giants. Yeah, but they were actually pygmy people. So,
but the
I just want to say,
basically to make sense of it, because remember, you said they were short before. So when they mixed with the Kush, they became tall people. After we gave them,
they became normal.
They became tall
normal
people.
Size.
Also in the Anunnaki history, right? You have people who like certain species or certain particular beings who came to them and mixed with them, right? You have that, and also if we're gonna speak about I think he said BG. Did you say BG, Fresh?
No.
What's the word? What's short people? What's the word for the short people?
The short people are called the Ijiji, yeah.
So what I said is that you know how you have Anunnaki. So the Anus were short before they mixed, and also in the Anunnaki mythology, you have beings who came and mixed with them, and so they became giants and stuff like that. So what we can say is that when the Kush people mixed with the Anunnaki, and because also the Greeks used to say that the Kushitic people are the tallest and the most beautiful people on earth. Now coming back again, these tall people mixed with the short Anunnakis. The short Anunnakis became tall. Now, the Kushitic did not mix with all Anus, they mixed with some. Those who did not mix with the Anu, with the Kush, maybe they've given them a separate name to distinguish the Anus who got mixed and the Anus who did not mix. And then you had the Ijiji.
You see, that's it all patterns. So what you did there was that you patterned up why the reason why they call themselves the Anunnaki in a way is because they had some type of Cushitic blood in them.
Oh yeah,
royal blood, and royal blood just became royal.
Anu, that's something else, but Naki it also means like children of Anu. Do you know that? Or the descendants, the children of Anu. There's different translations to it, but that's one of the things. But moving on.
You see, so
next question.
No, it's right. So if it's the children of Anu, that gives you the understanding of that picture. You have a picture of a tall guy sitting there on his stature, and then he has smaller guys. Yeah, so he's the guy who was born. He was the son of Anu. Yeah, but he was the son of Anu from Kush. So he was intermixed by these kings of the sun beings, the guys that came from the sun.
You know what? Since I've been doing Somali Corner, this is one of the most interesting conversations I've had in a long time. All right, Pharaoh, what's your next question? What's your next question?
Oh, there's so many, but thank you for the answer, brother, and I thank you for your answer, Khalid, too.
No problem, bro.
Have you guys heard of the Edomites and how they're related to the Cushitic people before?
No.
I don't know if Brother Ahmed cut off.
I think his phone died or something. Go, say your piece. Maybe you would answer him again when he comes back.
So Edomites.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, he's back.
Brother Ahmed, have you done any research on the Edomites and how they might be related to the Cushites? Because I know.
No, actually not. You mean the Elomites or the? You mean the Elomites?
Yeah, the Elomites. Yes, the Elomites.
I think they're of the. I don't know. Are they of the same group?
No.
If you say Elomite, then yes, they are from the same. They are Cushites. Yeah. If you say Elomite, yes, because the Elomites were the ones that conquered, or not conquered, but occupied the region of Tigris and Euphrates in Iraq. Yes.
Oh, bro, I've just remembered something. Sorry to interrupt you, Pharaoh. You know, in the Bible, you have the Nephilims, right? The Nephilims were giant people. But also in the Cushitic mythology, you have the Irams, who were also giant people. They left North Africa, right? They traveled to north and they crossed into the Middle East. You understand? And that's when they built, you know. Also in the Quran, you have Iramadat al-Imad, you know, high loft buildings, right? And then you have the Ilam and Iram and the Nephilims. They were all these all names carry one particular aspect: giants. So, and these are Cushitic. Crazy, man, crazy. Go on.
Yeah, it's all everything. Like I said, in one way or another, most of the theologies they connect to back to Kush, to Meru. So don't forget Al-Maru. Yeah. The Americas. Yeah. The new world. They said there was a new world, but it's an old world.
Wait, so Americas.
Al-Maru, yeah, Al-Maru. It's another world of America. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Al-Maru, yeah.
I thought the white man came up with that name. That's what I thought all this time.
No.
Okay. So,
bro, it was an Italian. It is an Italian, and Italia was also occupied by us in some way, somewhat.
Okay.
So even the Christians, you talk about the Christians or these first rulers of Rome. Yeah, those are black people. So it all connects.
The first one to write a poem, She was a she was a black queen. When I say black, like I'm not talking about the modern use of it. I'm talking about a person of dark skin who was from Kush.
Yeah, sun-kissed.
Yeah. So with this queen, she was the first to write a poem, and she was the queen of Uruk, Iraq, basically.
Iraq, yes. There's the name. The ancient name of Iraq is Uruk.
Uruk, yeah.
Yeah.
Farah, what's your next question?
Yeah.
Let's go on. What you said we have?
Yeah, brother Ahmed, thank you for the answer. You also mentioned earlier about the Freemasons. So you mentioned about the 360 degrees of knowledge that the Kushites of the time obtained and cultivated. And it's funny nowadays that the highest rank of Freemasonry nowadays is only 33 degrees compared to 360 that we were used to. And you mentioned earlier that saying about deities from India, deities from the Almecs and etc. But then would you go as far as to say that all deities come from Kushites? All deities in the world ever existed were either innovations of Kushites, basically.
Yeah, that's what I said in the beginning. In the middle of this talk is what I just said. Is that we were the ones when we colonized the world. We spread our seed, first of all. And when we spread our seed, our knowledge came with the seed. So our knowledge was given to that seed for 40 years. That's why it took 40 years for us to become grandmasters. In order for you to become a grandmaster, you had to study for 40 years before you even become, even before you can go and tell yourself that you are a grandmaster. So you studied the knowledge 360 degrees, just like Imhotep did at that time.
Also, another question: Do you know the age when a prophet becomes a prophet?
An age?
No,
it's 40.
40. A prophet receives revelation at the age of 40.
Yes. Yeah, because it takes 40 years for him to learn what he's supposed to learn.
Exactly. Also in Islam, 40 is the age of wisdom.
You see? So it all connects. Yeah. It all connects in one way or another. It connects.
You know what? I want to have this conversation again next week. I want to continue with this because
we can, man.
We are here, me and you and Farah was kind of fresh here. We are connecting, bro. And I'm gonna make you a very important figure on this server. I'm gonna give you a role and I'm gonna make you an admin, and you're gonna be a really important figure here, just like Gail and everybody else. And thank you for coming. Farah, any other questions, bro?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
All right, bro.
Yeah, brother. So we touched on the topic of the Freemasonry and how said earlier, all deities come from Cushitic origin. So and we also touched on the 360 degrees of knowledge.
Yes.
So what about the ancient technology used to build these pyramids, these structures? The precision, the mathematics used for sacred geometry. How can we obtain that in modern day, as Kushites?
I would tell you that it's practically impossible if we don't tap into our ancient DNA. Because it's impossible. Why I'm saying it's impossible is because practically it's impossible if we don't tap into our ancient DNA. But I will tell you the reason why we can't get back to where we were once is because our biggest library got burnt by Alexander in Alexandria. So we lost so much of our knowledge there that the world became dumb. The world became dumb. When he burnt that thing down, it was finished. He took all the heads, bro. He took the heads, the ras. He took them all.
And you know something that's funny though?
The reason.
Something I find really strange. Every time mankind come together to establish a house of wisdom, something comes and destroys it. Even the Muslims, at some point, they had something like that. They had a library. and this library contained every single knowledge, like almost half of the knowledge of the world. Guess what? The Mongols came, they destroyed it. It's madness to the extent the history goes like this, right? The books were dumped into the rivers to the extent the rivers became black because of the inks from the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's madness.
In Baghdad, that was in Baghdad, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, man. I know my history, man. It's crazy.
yeah.
But anyways, man, like I said, when it comes to these things, if we don't take care of it, if we don't nourish it, if we don't, have these discussions, we will actually never know. We will actually never know who we actually were. Yeah. So when he burnt down that library, what he did is he erased so much of our ancient past. He erased it, and he kept the things that he felt was significant for him, because he couldn't understand the rest of it. The rest of the 70 to 80% inside that library, he couldn't understand it. He couldn't understand the geometry. He couldn't understand the physics. He couldn't understand these things that were there. He couldn't understand it. So he said, if you can't understand it, burn it. Burn it. Because you have no use for it if you don't understand it. Yeah. Not only that, he killed off the heads. Why? Because the heads are the keepers. These are the guys that holds the history. They hold the knowledge. If you don't have your history, if you don't have your knowledge, you have nothing. And he made sure we didn't have nothing left.
Okay.
Not even our written language. So that's why we don't have an actual written language. Because that was taken away, man. We used to have a proto-Saharic scripture. That was actually our real history, our real scripture is Proto-Sahara. Why I say Proto-Sahara is because we had a scripture before the Sahara became Sahara, sand. It was a lush jungle. The whole region was a lush jungle, man. Fertile land, this whole region. All the way from Nile to Lake Chad. All of it was a fertile region. If you look at it, because I study geology, and in geology, we look at different things like in sediments, sedimentology and shit like that. In there, they talk about the Lake Chad. And Lake Chad was a lake, a prehistoric lake, a lake that was very old. Yeah, and that lake is from that time I was talking about. So that's why I can confidently say that we have had, you see this continent, we have had connection all over, man. This area here, we all have had connections. This area, all of us have had some type of connection with each other because all of our theologies, all of our mythologies, they all synchronize.
Which area again? The camera was small.
This area. So if you look at this area here, there is Sahara. They call it now Upper Sahara, not Sub-Sahara. This is Sub-Sahara.
Yeah.
We talk here, and this area used to be a lush
green
rainforest. Yeah. So the time when they built the pyramids, it was a rainforest in Egypt. Yes, it was rainforest. This whole area was rainforest.
Yeah. Because reading when I read,
we had
go on. You had.
And we had cows. We had cows, not camels at that time. We had cows.
That's
so
where
the cows.
I think that's where we disagree because camels.
Okay.
Because camels were the first, because to be a nomad or to travel or to have to go, because remember we had to travel from the land of the gods, Waqoyi, and some parts of Lake Tana and the front side of Lake Turkana. So for us to make this journey, cows won't cut it, bro. You need yes, most definitely. You need to have some type of camels because the first ones who domesticated camels were Somalis. Yeah, we know. Somalis and
it was Somalis. Yeah, there was Somalis. The ones that first domesticated the camel was Somalis. See, everybody knows this. Cattle, it was 2,000 years before Christ.
Yeah, cattle. It's true about the cattle, but in the Cushitic mythology, I was because I learned Cushitic mythology to make sense of the Cushitic history, and it's really important. Actually, it notes everything together. in the Cushitic mythology, you had the Gala and the Galle.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the Gala were those who didn't have camel, but they were sedentary people, right? And they had cattle and agriculture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you had the Galle. These were the ones with the camels. So before the Cushitics went to sail on the seas, they were sailing on the deserts. Do you understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is, when it comes to our connections with all the other dynasties, we had an older, it's older than that. So that's why I'm saying that cattle must have been something that they used even before using camels, because camels were domesticated. Means like dogs. They got domesticated by us. They were wild, and you couldn't touch them because they were wild. They were wild beasts. They were just roaming the land. They were wild. We took them, we domesticated them, we saw their properties, and we used them for our nomadic life.
Yeah,
because we knew it.
To come, maybe I think Gail is actually good at this, right? Gail is good at this. If he's online, maybe he can correct me on this one. It's said that when the Cushitics traveled outside of Africa, because first we started from the Horn, right? So once they started traveling outside of Africa, this is because the cows that we use today, genetically, when you look at them, they don't come from Africa. They come from outside of Africa. So they left, because for you to leave and to go outside of Africa, you're gonna have to make a journey, and you need camels. So I would say the first thing and when they came back with cattle. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
So basically, it makes sense for us to use camels first, and also in Somalia, in India, you have cattle is the most severe animal, right? But in Somalia, we love cattle, but we love camels more, because camel it's life. Do you understand? We call it the ship of the ship of the desert.
The ship of the desert. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The ship of the desert. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know all about it, man. We were the first people to domesticate this animal. So, in a way, we have a connection with them. But they say that they actually originates in Mongolia. That's why I know that we actually did colonize that area as well. So when we colonized that area, we took our way into the Americas as well, by boat and by land, through Alaska. So people don't understand our history.
I know, it's frustrating,
and we need to take it back. But it's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back slowly and surely.
Yeah,
it's coming back.
Yeah. So Pharaoh,
and we're just Yeah.
So
any questions?
Any last questions?
I just had one right now.
Okay, go on.
1 second, brother. Let me just scroll through.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
And also keep these questions for next week. They will also help us with that. And keep making more questions, man. Starting from today, you're gonna be our question guy, man. That's good. Yeah. You raise really important questions. I like that.
Did you know that you guys mentioned Berbers earlier, coming from do you know the term barbarian is closely related to Berber and Berbera?
Yes.
So I can see some ties there and some resemblance. Barbarians, maybe, I know the white man, studied, and it's in the books. I've seen it somewhere. I can't quote it right now. But so yeah.
I will tell you this. Yeah. I'm telling you this directly. 50,000 years before Christ, there were nomadic tribes that settled Germany, settled the Iberian Peninsula, settled all these areas. They were nomadic people, and they had Berber identities. That's why also the Moors were very influencing the European Renaissance. Because they also have some type of Berber background. So these Berbers or even Kushite people, so they've seen in history, about 55,000 years ago, there were a nomadic tribe from the Afar, that settled in Germany.
Well,
hence the reason why you have these things going on, or the question that you had.
So when did Anfar settle in Germany? What year are we talking about? And where's this?
We're talking
reference coming from?
55. It's about 55,000 years ago.
What's the reference?
The reference, you can find it on internet. I'm not sure. I don't have the reference with me. All I have is in the head. But you can find it on any
because a lot of
if
people,
you go to Google, just go into Google, and just type in Afars in Germany 50,000 years or 55,000 years ago. Just write it.
I will look into that because a lot because for me it's like, as long as something is not academical or scholarly, I disregard it. So I'm not gonna throw that out the window. I'll keep it in my head. Maybe in the future, if something comes up, I will try to remember that. And finally,
but that's the reason why the Berbers had some type of connection with the barbarians. They call them barbarians in France. Yeah, because we used to own that area. We used to own that whole area. They used to be our colony as well. So all of it is very close related.
Yeah, I would deem that as an hypothesis instead of or a theory instead of a fact. But there is the possibility of that being true. We don't know. And anybody who wants to look into that, please look into it and do your research. Most of the things that we've said here tonight or today, whatever hour it is for you, basically we were just like elaborating on the on the history and the origin of the Cushitic people and what they've done. And a lot of these things have been hidden from the world. Not hidden, but the thing is, if you don't tell your story, let's just say it's today you went to the shops and you've seen some extraordinary stuff, but you went quiet about it. You never told nobody. That story nobody's gonna know that story. That story is gonna die with you. But if you tell that story to someone, then someone will be fascinated by that story and tell that story to other people, and that way your story will live. The same way with us.
Exactly.
For me, I don't like to point fingers. The white man has nothing to do with this, nor the Arab, nor anybody. One thing that I know is that because even this goes with the Somalis as well. Somalis don't record history, bro. Something happens, they move on. They always they don't care about the past. They do something, they move on. For instance, like look at the masjid. There are two holy masjids in East Africa, right? In the Horn, you got the one in Harar and the one in Somalia, right? Maqiblatain and the other one I forgot. Now look at the one in Somalia, totally neglected. Now it has collapsed, and look at the one in Harar. They have looked after it. So Somalis don't look much. They don't care much about history, and they don't know that history. Because the reason why the confusion within the Somali world today is because they've let go of their history, and they don't know how powerful they are. That's why people are coming and telling us what to do. But there was times when Somalis ruled over the Maldives, they ruled over Sri Lanka, they ruled over some parts of Yemen. They had influence in Mozambique. I've heard, this is a theory, nobody should basically quote me on this, but I heard that the name Mozambique comes from Musa Bihi, right? Or Musa Bihi, and Musa, basically the reason why I say this is because I've heard some Mozambicans, right, the people of Mozambique, telling me their king was a Cushitic king, and he fought and he was fighting the Portuguese, and so the Portuguese named the country after the country. They named the king after the country. You understand? And this king was, and also let's not forget, the Somalis used to mine in Mozambique. They used to mine in Sofala. They did a lot of crazy stuff. But at the end of the day,
even Mona Motapa in Zimbabwe.
Exactly. Yeah. And remember when you talked about ancient Cushitic people wearing gold and stuff, it said that the Ajuran Empire, when the Portuguese sent spies, right? And these spies pretended to be, great people, like people who came as scholars and stuff. So the spies were talking about what the kings looked like. And they said the kings they wore garments of gold. Everywhere you look, their whole garments was made of gold. There's gold everywhere. And that coincides with what you said. Again, What something else that I wanted to say was freaking out. Yeah, you talked about when what they would do is like they would go to a place, they would intermix or they would leave someone there to represent them, and eventually they will become the kings of that country. With the Ajuran, what they did was they went to the Maldives and they established something called the Hilali dynasty, right? The Hilali dynasty in the Maldives. So these were representative, and then eventually it became a powerhouse. And then to the extent that you have guys like Al Kaunain, when we became Muslims, he was so comfortable to go to the Maldives and tell the king, "Yo, become a Muslim." You know, it shows that you had power over them, because why would a king be like? Why would he even listen to a Somali? Why? You know. But yeah, man. Again, I'm gonna leave the last speech to my brothers in the chat. But to say my final piece, if you guys want to join our Discord server, this server, don't expect this server to be a very chatty server. No, this is a seasonal server. When we have something to speak about, this is when we speak. The rest of the time, just leave your opinions, leave your questions, and we will just gather this stuff together and eventually do something about it. Also, what we have, if you look into the left of the screen, we have libraries. You know, here you have libraries, pre-Islamic, Cushitic, ancient Egypt, Adil. So anybody who has knowledge of these things or articles or books, they can post this stuff there. So future people, when they join the server, they can go into the library and learn. So, and I would also ask my brother Ibrahim, who's new to us, he knows a lot of stuff, to edit the Cushitic page, the library. You will see at the bottom of the screen. So guys, if you come here, a lot of people came. Some people come and leave. Some people start causing commotion. I kick them out or I ban them. So my channel is growing. So the server is growing, but slowly and surely. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say.
No, it takes time.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna leave. So Gail hasn't said anything, so I'm gonna leave it to Gail. Gail, can you hear us? Hello, Gail.
I think he's there, but he's not talking.
Yeah, something wrong with his mic. It's making sounds, but yeah, there's something wrong with his mic. He said that to me earlier as well on the chat, main chat.
But if he has any questions, he can write them down, and we can discuss that on the second episode. Inshallah.
And those of you who don't know Gail, me and him made an episode a while ago. The voice came very low. I had to remove the video. I'm gonna re-upload it. Gail is one of the people. If you read information on disc if you read anything on Wikipedia concerning Somali history, one of the people which the credit goes to is my friend Gail. He's really, really good at this. And then if you want to learn about other stuff, pharaohs and stuff like that, and Somali empowerment, Cushitic empowerment, that's my friend Fresh. And now we have a new member, mashallah, our brother Ibrahim, who blew our mind today. And yeah, so Fresh, say your piece, and then the last person, the man of the hour, will be Ibrahim to finish his last piece. So Fresh, come through, bro.
Okay. Sure. Brother Ibrahim, sorry, brother Ahmed, could you speak more on the ancient DNA, tapping into ancient DNA? Because what I noticed about myself is that...
oh, something happened. Somebody jumped in.
Yeah. Go on, Pharaoh.
And tell me how this relates to you, brother Ahmed. What I noticed about myself is that what led me to this knowledge was my own DNA. Do you feel what I say? So I feel like, you know, obviously DNA holds memory, holds a lot of memory. So yeah, overall, how do you feel about that?
I mean, it always something that comes back to you. Yeah, like. So if you look at the ancient DNA, our DNA, it's quite diverse now because many of us have been very mixed in some way, somehow. If people go and do their DNA tests, it can be in different parts of the world, parts that you didn't even know. Like, what the hell? Why is that in my DNA?
Sorry, guys, could you hear me?
Yeah, now we can
I hear you. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
No, he went.
Okay, let me just continue. Let me just continue with the DNA.
Sorry about earlier.
Oh, he's coming.
Yeah, bro, there's something wrong with your
Yeah,
mic.
sorry.
You're
I'm
breaking
sorry
up.
about earlier. I was just gonna say sorry about earlier. Continue.
Oh, okay, go on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, all right.
So let me
I'll
just
come back, but continue, bro. Sorry about that. Continue.
okay.
You'll be
Just
the
wanted to
last
say
person.
sorry about earlier.
Yeah, you'll be the last person to speak though. Keep your mic up.
Okay, so when it comes to ancient DNA and our DNA, that's why many of us have a lot of diverse DNA in our system. That's why we can trace ourselves to different parts of the world that we didn't even know we had. Like, what the hell, man? We have Southeast Asia, we have India, we have different other parts of the world that we didn't.
Yeah, but
Why? But it's
but
right there.
these
It's in
DNAs
history.
though, these DNAs point to the horn. But one thing I would like to
Yeah.
ask you, what do you say of those people who say that the Cushitic people look like this because they got mixed? Do you think what would you say to those people?
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. It's a lie.
Thank
It's a
you.
lie.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a lie. It's a lie. Like a lot of other things. It's a lie. You know.
Because you know the reason why I say this.
People think
Go on.
that. Let me just say. The people think that because we look the way we look, that we've mixed with Caucasoid or with other types of Arabs or other people of that kind. I would say no, because phenotype. The phenotype that we have, the phenotype is that thing of your genome that tells you about who you are, how you look. Yeah, like anatomy. Anatomy, you have the genome, and you have the phenotype. Phenotype is what you see. When I look at you, that's what I see. I see the parts of your genome. That's what I see. That's why it's called phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the genome that you have that is speaking in the image that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And then I'll also tell you that if people of paler skin came after us, that means we must have been their fathers in one way or another.
Of course, yeah. Black does not come from white. That it doesn't make sense.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm telling you, opposite has been our greatest enemy, because they've been using everything that we have, everything that we built against us. So like I said, the swastika is not something they created.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we created. They took it and twisted it and made it into their own reality. Yeah, they twist things.
The idea of
they twist everything. They twist.
Yeah, the idea of us like being the originators of many religions. Actually, my teacher, who teaches me oral history on the Cushitic people and what they believed and their mythology, he said the same thing to me. Because we even have, he told me the story of how we crossed the Nile and stuff like that. And the story goes like, you know how you have a prophet, a male? In the Cushitic mythology, it's a female who split the sea. You know? Yeah.
So that's why you see, if you look at the Arab today, you see he has black hair, black eyes, but his skin is pale. It's because some of the melanin stuck. The melanin is still there. Everything is not gone. You understand?
You know,
so if you look at
go on. No, go on, because go on.
Yeah. So if you look at, for example, my cousins, or my cousins, they have children with people of white skin. Yeah. If you look at the children, they look like Arab, like pure Arab. Yeah. And then you have even some of my other family members having kids. Yeah, and they're not even from our coast. They're from the west coast of Africa. They having children with whites, and they become looking like Arabs. Yeah. So they are in the middle. That's why they always say Middle East. There's no such thing as a Middle East.
No, this is just
you understand?
Like, this is a foreign narrative. But I'm gonna
it's
say,
a foreign narrative. It's a foreign thing, man.
Yeah. Before I forget what I wanted to say, because the reason, sometimes the reason why I interrupt you while you're talking, because when I think of something, if I don't say it quickly, I know I have a very short memory. I forget. I forget. That's why you keep seeing me jumping out. So basically, I forgot. Continue. It was something. You was okay. Arabs. You see,
Yeah.
when we come to the land of the Arabs, right? A lot of people think the Arabs looked the way they look today. The thing is, they did not. They were darker, much darker. Even
Exactly.
the reason why we go, even during the Prophet's time, because you had
Yes.
Arabs who, in their name, they had Al Aswad. You know,
Yes.
something Al Aswad, or a person's name who's an Arab, who's a Quraysh, his name was Aswad, and
Yeah.
also you had dark skinned Arabs, and in the Hadith narrations, they describe what these people look like sometimes. Now, coming back to again, white people or white Arabs again, you know, in the land of the Arab world, the first people to, even in the scriptures like the Bible, you would find the Bible, there's a lot of things that's wrong with it, but also when it comes to locations, the Bible sometimes is accurate because it was very accurate about the kingdom of Kush. Now, coming back again,
Yeah.
the people that used to live in modern day Yemen and modern day Arabian name areas were people like the Dedans and other groups of Cushitic people who spoke Semitic. And the Dedans, so Ishmael, remember the Ishmaelites, they came to the Arab world, they came to the Semitic speaking world, and
Yes.
they mixed with them. So in other sense, a lot of people say I am Arab and I come from Quraysh, but tell you what, sorry to break it down to you, the Quraysh are not Arabs, they are assimilated Arabs. You understand? It's because the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is from Mesopotamia. He's from other.
Iraq.
He's
Iraq,
not his
yeah.
family Iraq. Yeah, his family comes from there, Mesopotamia. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's all I wanted to say. I don't want to say a lot because the more we speak, the conversation gets longer. Gail, I want
No,
you.
but it's true, man.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's
Hear
true.
me, guys.
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
I
you, bro.
hear you.
Say your piece, my brother,
Yeah,
and then we're
I'll-
gonna finish this. Inshallah, wrap it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say sorry about earlier, but it's good to meet brother Ahmed. He seems very
Shukran.
knowledgeable, and wallah, I learned a lot, bro.
Shukran, brother.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a reason.
Yep.
We're here,
Yeah.
all of us are here for a reason. We're all here for a reason.
Thank God for Somali corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. It's good. It's
Alhamdulillah.
good.
It's
It's
good
good.
to have you on the.
I want also have this on my podcast. So all these
100%.
video things that you have, I want to put it on there as well, so people can see our conversation as well.
No
Because this is
problem.
one of the episodes that I want to have on mine, and maybe you can teach me in that area because I'm not strong when it comes to podcasting and stuff like that. So we're gonna help each other out, man.
Of
It's
course,
a community.
100%.
We
bro.
all help each other out.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, me is like you have something to share as long as you're sharing the knowledge, you know, our knowledge.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, we're gonna this at the end of this conversation, maybe once we finish with this Kushari conversation, I really want to go into a deep discussion about Afrocentrism. Because this is the killer of our history. That's what I believe. But for you, that's a whole different narrative. But we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Because this is something I want to talk to you about, actually. Because you seem like a very understandable person. And yeah, people, anyone has anything last thing to say?
Yeah, I think Gil, brother, he had something to say.
No, I was just gonna say that it's been a really knowledgeable session. I learned a lot from brother Ahmed, and it's good to have him on the team.
Shukran,
Look
akhi.
forward to more podcasts.
We can, man. No, this is just the beginning, man. It's just the scrape of the iceberg, like they say. It's just the scrape of it, man. But I'm telling you, man, it's so much in it that if we don't actually get to it, if we don't actually, surround ourselves with these people, because this is magnetism. The reason why we are here talking is because we have been sent to each other. Magnetic. You understand? It's the force of the universe that have said, you guys need to come together. You guys need to talk. I've had struggle, man. I've struggled in my podcast.
I prefer the word qadr
now
instead of the force of the universe. That just sounds a lot of... I don't like that term. But because it's like we're deifying the universe.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I know. I'm just
the powers of.
I mean, the importance of Islam.
Of will. I would say the power of will. The power of will.
Will exactly.
Has forced us together.
Yeah.
Also gonna say add some more to that. I think it's like this topic. Obviously, there's more to be found. There's more information out there. Not all of us know 100% of the topic, and so it's good that we get to come together Everybody might know a little, and we can all add up to something.
Yes.
I agree with you, man. It's just like, it's the beginning. It's the scrap of the iceberg.
Exactly.
There's more to learn, and in the future, hopefully, we like keep going with this, and we can keep unraveling.
Yeah, man, we're gonna do it. It's time.
It's always, every day. There's always something new to learn.
Exactly, and it is the time now, man. We are in the years. We are in the years. Okay, we are in a year of enlightenment.
Exactly.
So we are here now for a reason. It's because we have stepped in. We have stepped up actually to the plate and actually going towards the end goal, which is that we also change the physical realm. First, we are doing the mental realm. Now we are discussing it. Yeah, this is the mental. But then it goes to physics. So every word, that's why in the Bible, he said something about, first it was the word.
Yeah, there was the word,
And then everything else came afterwards. That's what it is. Everything you say, comes into existence. So you have to be very careful, guys.
Yep. Words.
About what you guys are saying.
What we say is what we become.
Not what we become, but we will change the area that we are, the realm that we are by the words that we are saying. So we need to be very careful.
Yeah, but the reason why I said that is because like when you speak, you become what you say, and what you become will affect your surrounding. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah, coming back to Gail. So Gail, wrap it up, bro.
I think that was. I think that was it.
No, I think that was it for me. It's always because this, the topic. It's a very interesting topic, and there's always more to learn from the topic. Hopefully, more, when we come together and we keep discussing.
Yeah, this is just a scrape. Like I said, this is just small things that I have. It's I have a lot more.
Okay.
But it's a lot more. So save it to next episode.
Inshallah.
I think it's gonna be many episodes.
Of course, yeah. Inshallah, next week I'll make I'll call you 2 days before or prior to anything, and make sure you get your stuff ready. Write them down and all of that. So next time you are fully prepared. And the same thing with me. Like remember what I told you earlier. I told you this. You said an hour 30 minutes. This has been going on for 2 hours now. I told you if because I like asking and adding information to what you say, and this creates conversation, So coming back to
it's unique.
Yeah, this is
unique.
good. This is good. So what I'm gonna do? So I was gonna ask you, do you have a YouTube? How are you gonna post the podcast for your thing?
Exactly, I do have a YouTube, and it's called N1P Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't got any material out yet. The only thing I have is a radio. So I have things on Mixcloud. If you want to go into my group, N1P Podcast, is a Pan-African group. So I want to, give people the understanding of the African perspective of life, history. It's many topics. It has to do with activism and a lot more. Because I've also had a background in activism. I've been working I worked in South Africa. So I have some activism work done on the ground there. So that's another topic. But I have activism, we have ancient knowledge. We have a lot of topics that is crucial for our people.
Yeah.
And that's what I have on my channel, which is the N1P Podcast. It's on Facebook and on YouTube, but I have no material yet out. This will be the first material coming out of that podcast on YouTube, so that guys.
Okay. To help you with this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose a different title, but for you can.
Okay.
I would add the word question it, but I'm gonna try and make it into a clickbait. Also, I'm gonna do is once you post this video, you can use my Somali Corner name with a hashtag, because once you associate the video with my hashtag, you will get views with it, and people will once people search for Somali Corner videos, your video would also come up, and that would also give you certain views. And also everybody please do support our brother Ibrahim or our brother Ahmed, so that, you know, as you can see, mashallah, he's also contributing to the Somali and the Cushitic world and teaching about our history. As you know me, I just like to focus on Kush this, Kush that, Somali was, Somali is, and I have my reasons. This is something that maybe we will discuss at the end of our topics. And yeah, and also there's another video coming up with Muhammad Artan soon. We're gonna be reacting on one of the videos, that video from World Wars, from one of these YouTube channels, and because they've literally destroyed the Sayyid's narrative of the story, so we're gonna correct them and tell it from our point of view. Last but not least, please subscribe, share, support our brother Fresh as well. He's a YouTuber. He also speaks about this thing. So as you can see, the Somali Corner family is growing, right? Before we started from the park, now, you know, and it was just now we're getting more interesting, and, you know, alhamdulillah, things will go better and greater, and let the family grow. And if you know stuff, please come join us and contribute to this. We'll create episodes for that particular subject, or come to discuss. If you have something to argue about, something to discuss, something to you know, add to this, come through, inshallah, binillah. And please subscribe and share this video. Let your hoya, abo, abti, abiyar, abaya, abo see it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.